We can't just give all of our opinions to each other before we hit record.
No, I know. Mate, I know this is a really silly thing to bring up on a podcast, but it's so relaxing that this MacBook now has space for me to record onto.
Oh, God, man. Save it for the sponsored content. Seriously.
Thanks to this new laptop from Apple, I no longer have to connect to Drive because it was a hassle.
Interesting things said by uninteresting people. You're hosted by Ben and Tom. Interesting things said by uninteresting people.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Interesting Things Said by Uninteresting People, the podcast where we talk about interesting things so you don't have to. Don't even have to think about them, mate. My name's Ben,
bother.
And as always, I am joined by the far more kawaii half of the podcast, Tom. Tom, put the peace signs down. Mate, put your heel back on the floor. How are you?
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm good. Do you know what? I want to start this podcast on a positive note.
Good, mate, because we're going to fucking need it. We're going to need it.
We're going to need it. We might have a few more listeners, Ben.
Excellent. Are they listeners where I shouldn't really be swearing in the first 20 seconds of the podcast?
No, I think you could probably swear. I think they're all adults.
Fair enough.
A few people in the comments lately on the old Bite Review have been saying they've been listening to the podcast. So if you are new, hello.
Mate, all jokes aside, that is genuinely really, really good news and welcome.
Welcome. Prepare yourselves for a dull, boring
waste
of your
is,
time.
Right. When on your YouTube videos, on your very successful YouTube channel, Bite Review, just for people who don't know.
Bite Review, youtube.com/Bite Review.
You sound exactly like the knowledgeable professional video maker that you are, right?
Yeah.
Then you talk off the cuff and people are like, oh, God.
Oh, he is an idiot. Oh, he really does write a script.
Oh, man. No, dude, in all seriousness, hey, glad to have you.
It's good news, isn't it?
Should we talk about, let's try and hold it as professional as possible so that these people aren't wasting their time. Let's be really kind to them. What are we going to talk about? I'll tell you what, we never do this. Let's give a bit of an overview. We've got a few short things to talk about this time. It's going to be one of those episodes. We've got some llamas to talk about.
Yeah, we're excited for that.
We're going to jump in and talk about some more in-depth knowledge about your latest video, about some iPad app action.
Yeah, let's do it.
Borat came out. We might talk about that.
Yeah, Borat.
We will. I say might.
We're going to talk about Ben's new bit of music. His new
EP.
EP.
Man. That I'd like to point out that came from you as well, rather than from me.
Yeah, it did. I took that on for you.
And some other stuff as well. But this is, of course, the pre-election special.
It is, but not for England.
No,
not for our country.
No, man, we're just going to stick our noses into the Americans' business.
Yeah, as you do, as everybody does.
Do you feel like we are invested in it as Brits?
Do you know what? This is probably the closest election I think I've ever followed. I followed it in 2016, but more of like a outside interest. But this time I'm really interested just because the candidates are so different. You know, I don't want to fall down on either side. I mean, I would vote Biden, but you know, it's going to be a big one, mate. You know, it's going to be a lot of change regardless of who gets picked, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the 2016 election, I was invested in it because it felt like more of a circus, to be honest. Because you had a politician going up against like, I don't want to say clown right out the gate, but do you know what I mean? Like a personality versus a politician, I guess.
Yeah.
Is a way to put it.
Proper outsider.
Yeah, but this time round, it's like I really want to see what happens. Like, what is America thinking of what's going on at the minute?
Mate, the thing that worries me, and we don't want to turn this into a political podcast for our new listeners who may well be from America, and we may well be angering at this very point.
Oh, yeah, that immediately switched off again. Yeah.
Oh, I've lost them. We had them, we lost them. It might be, you know, they're so divided over there now. Over here it's Labour or Tory, and there's a bit of division there, probably more than there was. But over there, it feels like it's a real us and them sort of scenario.
Yeah.
So I hope it's I hope they can push past that because they are the United States of America, not the divided states.
Yeah, man. I mean, did you? Oh man, what state was it? Was it Utah or Ohio? Maybe where they had the two candidates making a joint advert together, saying, yeah, and it's quite, I mean, it's a bit schlocky, you know, it's obviously very pre-prepared, you know, it's like, you know, it's a bit chintzy like that, but it's a good message, man. And they're saying like, look, we don't agree. We don't agree on a lot of the way the country should be run, but we can talk about it and we can be civil and talk about
it.
Mate,
that's what you want. And you want everyone to rally under one banner, don't you? And I guess you'd want to do that under a president, which obviously hasn't been possible for a while. And I'm sure it's not ever possible entirely, but you'd hope that, you know, that's the thing, isn't it? A president's success or a prime minister's success is really the success of your country. So you should be happy for them either way.
I think maybe for the Americans, what's been weirdest about the last 4 years, and I don't know, maybe I don't know enough to know of another example, but it feels like the Americans don't often have a president where the people that didn't vote for them so actively unite in hatred for the president.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, good. Bush maybe, I suppose, like with everything that happened with the Iraq War and what have you, maybe.
Maybe.
But it just feels, and I know there are always people who will, you know, carry on saying, "Oh no, I hated the president. I don't respect the president, whatever." But this just feels really different, man. Like it's a real united. No, this guy's an idiot. You know, or, you know, whatever language is being used.
It's like I said, it feels very much us versus them versus us sort of scenario, and. I'll never vote this way, I'll never vote that way, which isn't good. You should vote for the right candidate regardless of
yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, I know, you know, even fresh listeners, old listeners would probably, would guess from the way that we talk about our political leanings. But I would genuinely, and I mean this as a genuine question, I would be interested to know what people who are planning to vote for Trump are voting for.
I'd be totally open to that conversation, especially as an American. I'd want to know why are we different? Because I think a lot of left-wing people shut down right-wing. They're like, no, you're wrong. And then they just leave it there. And that's not the right thing to do. You want a conversation and decide, because, you know, it might even swing you the other way, which is good. You know, you should be able to have that conversation and not be triggered or offended. You should, you know, find out what the core value is that you actually want from a Trump presidency or a Biden presidency, and
it's like that. It's like the old expression: you should have strong beliefs loosely held. You know, believe what you believe until you can change it. You know, But man, I mean, it's like I'd like to know whether are they voting to keep Biden out? Are they voting to keep the Democrats out? You know, is that what it is, or is it they're voting for the man? You know, they say no, he's a good leader. Like, do they see something in his leadership where they're like, no, he's a strong leader?
Mate, I think a really good example of that is like back. Oh, we're going deeper now, but when it was John McCain versus Obama, I think in the second or the first round or whatever, and one of John McCain's, like, he's at a rally or something, and one of them says, "Oh, I don't like Obama. He wasn't born here. You know, he's an Arab and all this sort of stuff." And he takes the microphone off and goes, "No. He's a good American man and he's got good principles. We disagree fundamentally on a lot of things, but he's not this, he's not that." And that was so refreshing to see. Like, you would hope that most people could do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's what you want out of a president, you know, a stand-up guy, not some sort of, you know, selfish, horrible person. I'm not suggesting, you know, anything, but
no, but doesn't it say a lot that a lot of the past presidents will at least be civil to each other and can chat, and you see them candidly, you know, just having a laugh with each other. I know they might, you know, it's the same as you might be nice to anyone briefly at a party, but you can see they can talk about what it was like to lead the country. Yeah, and I just don't feel like that would continue with Trump.
Mate, there's such there's a fantastic note. I looked into presidents quite a lot recently because I'm a bit obsessed with it.
Yeah, okay.
When George H.W. Bush was president, who was George Bush's dad.
Yeah, Bush
when Bill Clinton took over after him, George Bush left him a letter on the president's desk, sort of thing.
Okay.
And I'll read it out because it is such a good thing to leave. You know, it's like because obviously he was a Republican leaving it to a Democrat. So obviously there's lots of differences there. But if I can find it, it's all handwritten as well, handwritten little note. And I'll read it quickly. It says, Dear Bill, when I walked into this office just now, I felt the same sense of wonder and respect that I felt 4 years ago. I know that you will feel that too. I wish you great happiness here. I never felt the loneliness some presidents have described. There will be many tough times made even more difficult by criticism you may not think is fair. I'm not a very good one to give advice, but don't let the critics discourage you or push you off course. You will be our president. When you read this note, I wish you well. I wish your family well. Your success is now our country's success. I am rooting hard for you. Good luck.
Oh, man. Sorry, I sounded overly emotional from a frog I had in my throat then. But no, dude, what? I mean, again,
that's the sort of thing you want to see, right?
It is, man. It is. But the thing is that civility and humility like that is often perceived as a weakness by a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
So I think that, that it's not every president who's going to leave a note like that to the successor.
No, yeah. But interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, man.
It's literally a few days away. It's literally this.
Yeah.
I hope this podcast is up before, because we'll feel like right idiots.
Yeah. We should be. I'll try. I'll try my best. If it's out afterwards, man, something's gone horribly wrong. And hey, who knows what world we're living in. But dude, I mean, it might take, it's possible. It might take weeks. Everyone's saying because of the number of mail-in ballots this time around, it might take a lot longer than usual to get a finalised result. It might not, but it might take a while to really know what's up.
Yeah, it won't be on election day, which must be strange for every American ever, I guess.
Yeah, it would be weird.
But yeah, mate, I don't want to sound like we're getting too deep into it. We're not voting. It's not our country.
Yeah, who cares really, mate?
We're just poking our nosy noses in.
Because we're men of the world, mate. That's what it is.
Men of the world. To be fair, if I wouldn't be objective to stay up and watch all the results come in with a few beers.
Fair enough.
Do you know what I mean? I would probably quite enjoy that. But
man, you never know.
If it's not happening on that day, then I probably won't.
Yeah. Imagine getting trashed and not getting the result at the end of it. Like,
you have to get trashed for the whole week.
Yeah. Dude, in other news, just unless you have anything pressing that you want to add to our coverage, our expert coverage of the US election.
No, not at all.
I had a great weekend. The weekend.
Yeah, explain.
It was my birthday. Which
Ben's birthday? How did I not know that?
Well, man,
I'm not on Facebook, am I?
Hey, there you go. And to be honest, I'm not one of these guys who sends around the WhatsApp group going, "Hey, boys, it's my birthday." By the way, I am the ripe old age of 30 plus a bit, and we went to. My wife took me to Llama Land for my present, and dude, Claire will always come up with the best presents, and I'd like to note that they're always presents she gets to enjoy as well. So there's that. Yeah, I know. But mate, in fact, without being that guy who's shown his slides, bringing the slides around to tell this holiday I had a really nice time. Just, I'm going to try and skirt the line of keeping it interesting. We went down to Cornwall. Yeah. We went to a little boathouse, like an Airbnb, but it's literally a little boathouse that a farm has on a lake, just down at the bottom of their land. Man, it was so peaceful. It was mad tranquil, bruv. That
sounds good.
Awesome. Yeah. And the rain pissed it down. And you know what? We were cozy. You got to watch the rain skittering across the lake with the ducks and the fish.
I'd like that.
Dude, it was warm. It was nice, man. We got to chill out. It was amazing. It was brilliant. And we went to Llama Land where we got to go and hang out.
Explain Llama Land immediately.
Right. It is brilliant. I would recommend anyone who's interested to Google it and check it out. It's Llama Land in Cornwall. I don't think there's two. The guy who runs it, actually called Tom.
It's not a chain.
It's not a chain. No, it's definitely not a franchise. But no, Tom, the owner, not Tom, the podcaster, was super nice. He obviously loves his animals a lot. He said he spent like a year and a half over in North America or in the States, hunting down new llamas to bring back with him. And he obviously takes a lot of care over it because they're South American, I think, in origin. There's certainly a lot of them over there. I think that's where they come from. Llamas and alpacas. And yeah, man, what can I say? We got to learn a lot about llamas, which I was into. It was cool. And we got to take a llama for a walk. I got to take the alpha male of the group, and they were saying that I need to be careful not to look him in the eye. Which I didn't at first, but eventually we got this understanding, where we both had a bit of respect for each other.
Were you tempted to ride the llama?
You know what? I didn't even want to jokingly ask the question, where are the saddles? No. Because I had a feeling he might, because me and Tom were getting along, and I didn't want to
ruin that.
Yeah, man, I should have. I wasn't my usual playful self. But yeah, man, me and do you know what the funniest thing is, man? Is that the guy who owns the farm was called Tom and the llama was called Teddy. No word of a lie.
Hell.
Yeah,
Mate,
dude, maybe that's why we got on so well. Yeah. Yeah, so we got to lead them around. At one point, we had to do llama athletics, where you get to jump them over a fallen log. You have to run at the log, and the llama will jump it. And then we got to go and see the young, you know, the Kriya, as they're called, which sounds like a Marvel alien race, but it's apparently what you call the llama little kids. And mate, dude, it was just cool to find out, to hang out with some animals, and they put on a great lunch. It was one of these things where it's a business that was obviously trying so hard to do it right as well. And they did, and they succeeded. You know, so awesome. Mate, I can definitely recommend it. If any of our listeners are in the Southwest, if they're in Cornwall, then yeah, check out Llama Land and tell them I said hi. I'm
literally typing it in right now to make sure I keep the website up.
Yeah, dude, mate, joking aside, man, it's a nice way to spend a weekend. You know, you can social distance, you know, you can keep it all safe like that. Yeah, man. Like I said, this podcast is going to be full of short things. I have absolutely run out of things to say about Llama Land, except to say it was a great time. It was a good trip.
That was the start and finish of Llama Land.
Yeah, man. Truro's not too far away, so you can have a bit of a meal there if you want. Nice. I don't know if you like Truro.
Oh, mate, it does look great. Talking of things that Ben's done.
Yeah,
Ben, you put out some new music recently last week.
I did,
mate. Tell me how it went. Like, how was release day? Because the last podcast we talked a little bit about how it sucks releasing your own music, especially through Facebook. You have to pay for people to see it, and there's all this sort of BS. How was launch day? I
will very openly say it went exactly how I expected it to go, which is that the people who are always very vocal about listening to the music I make were like, yep. Ben, cool, thanks. You know, we've checked it out, listened to it. Tom, you were one of them. Like, you know, it's cool, yeah, and flattering about it. You know, the people who like it have said they liked it. It was cool. I'm not going to talk about it like that, but you know, positive reviews, I guess, is what I'd say, which is cool. But yeah, mate, dude, it just goes exactly how you expect it to go. You know, like I'm not putting this out to build my fan base.
No, yeah.
I'm putting it out for the existing fans, and well, you know, like the existing likes, the existing
mate, I've done you a major solid because I purchased it from your Bandcamp, and then
I cannot thank you enough for that, mate.
And then I only went and streamed it, so you're earning money there too,
mate.
That's double bucks.
I'll be getting those 0.0003 of a penny for this. Thank you. No, I appreciate it. I do appreciate it.
Mate, it did make me laugh because I like bought it and it's like, do you want to download it? And I just quickly checked Spotify. I was like, well, I don't need to download it,
no.
So I'll just stream it on Spotify.
Dude, hang on. Does that mean you've listened to the bonus track? Mate, you've got to get on the. Oh man, sorry. This is going to just descend into a very unprofessional me and you conversation here. But yeah, dude, you've got
bonus track.
You've got to get on Delabole. Yeah, man.
Okay, I'll go and download it.
And I'm just going to call it out. Shout out to Andrew Vanstone, who's another musician who has decided that he's going to do a song about another Devon village. TBC on which one it is. But we thought we could try and get something going where all of us would have bonus tracks that were just named after local villages and just but never mention it. I mean, I'll mention it now to the people who listen to this, but yeah, it might be a nice little Easter egg.
I'll download it after. Mate, I wanted to say, you know, I'm not trying to blow your trumpet too much, but I thought it was really good. Really liked it.
Thank you, mate.
And do you know what? More than anything, this is why I wanted to talk to you a little bit about it. I felt like these are the most Ben Brewer tracks I've ever heard in a really good way. Like, it's got all the little bits I expect from you, but distilled into like a nice 5-track, you know, solid thing. And it didn't feel flabby or like you were stretching some songs out or anything like that. And I think it's possibly my favorite thing that you've personally done.
Thank you, man.
Again, I'm not just trying to say you're great.
No, sure. I
think that there's loads of ways you shit. Thanks. But no, it was good. You know, it felt like there's nothing, you know, it felt like you're taking your time with it in a good way. Like nothing felt rushed. And yeah, I think it seemed like the EP like accomplished what you set it out to do.
Thank you, mate.
Do you know what I mean? It felt like perfect. Like that's it. You know, it didn't need to be any longer or shorter. each song was nice, had those little bend bits that I've come to know over the, I guess 10 years or so now.
And yeah, Christ.
So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
Thank you, man. That really does mean a lot as well. Like I appreciate your perspective on it, and I'll take that.
It's good stuff, man. Also, this is the thing I did want to ask you about. So you recorded this all yourself?
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm not trying to catch you out, but did you have any help or anything at all? Was this all a Benborough production, start to finish?
I did have a little bit, but only in because I had some help from my brother who does a lot of recording, and I hope he wouldn't be insulted if I say it was more opinion help for a lot of it, which is equally valuable.
Of course.
I did a lot of the technical learning. I mean, to take a step back into telling this. Obviously, I've been in studios recording a lot over the years. I've been around the recording process a lot. This is the first time where I've had to sit down and technically go, right, this is where you plug the mic in. So it's kind of learning to get to the point that you were used to working at, if that makes sense, from the ground up. Yeah. And which Joe was very helpful with, with some pointers on that one, I guess. And then especially helpful, just from a couple of people as well, from opinions on a close to finished product, saying like, that doesn't sound right, that's too loud, that there's a frequency here that needs addressing. So just some technical stuff on it as well.
I was going to say, because it sounds like, really technically proficient. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't sound like, oh yeah, he recorded this in his bedroom. Do you know what I mean? It's got a nice... And it's like everything's understood. A lot of the times with local recordings, you can hear a compressor just go.
Yeah, like
you
real
can just
sucking.
hear it really powering through, but didn't get that view at all, or anything like that. And like going back to how I was saying, everything feels quite considered, even where like tracks drag over. I think the last 2 tracks drag over.
Yes, sure,
onto each other. Like those nice little touches like that are all production-y sort of things that a lot of people just wouldn't even think about. Do you know what I mean? Like you would if you're a producer. I know what you mean. But, you would, I'm sure Luke's done it multiple times, and producers and stuff in general say, oh, this should drag over because it's the same note or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was cool.
Thank you, man. Dude, I mean, I can't lie. It took a lot longer than a more proficient person would have taken to record it. Do you know what I mean?
How long do you reckon it took?
Oh, man.
Start to finish.
It took a lot of time. I mean, I'd say it took at least 3 months or so of work. Which is almost embarrassing to say, but it's like
I don't think it's too much time.
I mean, that was from writing, to properly, to drag. And mate, the number of times that I started working on a track, I recorded something in, started mixing it, started making it sound right, and then went, mate, this sounds dog awful. I need to just start again.
So what were you recording? I don't want to get too technical because I'm sure
no, far away, mate.
Don't give a shit about your recording stuff. But is it all software? Did you have an amp? Did you record the amp, or was it? Did you go through?
It's all software. Just by necessity, this was all software. Yeah. I mean, I've got the amps to plug in. But dude, thank you, Matt. I mean, it is a question of finding the right stuff to use. Mate, it was an exercise in discipline for a lot of it as well. Like, like a really obvious example for people who know a lot more than I know about mixing and recording is like with guitar sounds. Just to take a very specific example, you can make guitars sound bigger by sometimes having less distortion on them. So it's a bit, things like that, they're a bit counterintuitive, where it's like you can achieve more by doing a bit less. But if you sit there throwing more and more effects at something, it doesn't sound bigger and bigger. It sounds worse and worse.
Yeah.
Which I know is like a day one lesson for a lot of people. But things like that, where you don't need to do a lot to it.
I think the other thing that I was like, I guess I would have been envious of when I was learning about that sort of stuff is like, I'm sure you could like Google or like watch on YouTube how to use a compressor properly and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, sure.
And like that's the sort of thing I never really had access to. I used to read Sound on Sound magazine, and if they had like, here's how compressors work, I'd really try and read it and analyze it. But there's no like, here's an example, here it is on, here it is off, and here's what it's doing.
Like no lessons, no listening lessons. Yeah,
I could have really done with that back in the day, because I think when I used to record music, which was ages ago now, I used to just wing it, and it was probably horribly wrong.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you, man. I hear you. But it's nothing is more infuriating though when you get someone who does know what they're talking about, who will click a button and go, "Oh, doesn't that sound better?" And you go, Yeah, maybe. On, off. I cannot hear a difference.
Yeah, it is a bit like that sometimes.
But I mean, if anything useful is going to come out of talking about this on the podcast, I'd say, look, if anyone out, because this probably bleeds into stuff other than recording music as well, is that it can be done. Like if you just expect it to take some time, think this isn't going to be something I'm going to do overnight. But, YouTube's there, everyone has different opinions to take music specifically. Everyone has a different opinion on how you should do it, on how you should record. And I am nowhere near being proficient, I would say. There's still, I'm definitely on the first leg of it,
Yeah. Well, the thing is now, though, you are proficient enough to produce you can produce your own EP at home. So, like, if Lockdown 2 Revenge happens, then it's totally possible to actually do that sort of thing again.
And I want to give a shout out to something that might not be considered yet as well, is that the software I'm using. So just for the people who are listening to this who might be interested in audio recording or music recording, or if they're a musician, because I had this conversation with my cousin actually who plays a lot of guitar, saying, look, recording music is a valuable string to add to your bow as a musician, even just to understand how to go into a recording situation. If you want to check out, I need to say props to the software I've been using, because it's a free DAW, so a digital audio workstation, free recording software called Cakewalk. It is brilliant, not just for free. It's brilliant because it's brilliant. It does, if you can know where to look for what you're looking for within it, it does 95% of what you'd expect a top class suite to do. It really does. I can't
believe it's free.
Yeah. I think it's free because it got taken over by BandLab, I want to say. And I don't really understand why they give it free. I mean, I'm recording the podcast on it right now. It does everything some of it, there are a couple of things that are a bit like backwards to how you would expect them to go, and there's maybe a couple of things I can think of which I won't bore you with that it doesn't do, but there's not a lot. I mean, there's maybe one or two things I can think of. I was going
to say one more technical question. I always found recording guitars straight in, straight into the sound card, and then using something like Guitar Rig to get distortions and stuff. What were you using there? Were you just using what's built in?
No, I'm using just from the technical point of view, I've got my complete interface set up, obviously to go through. Yeah. So I did. So I'm thinking of things I paid for. I paid for that. I paid. What did I get? The interface. That's it. The interface, because it's Native Instruments. The interface came with a lot of plugins, so a lot of ways to affect the sound and treat the sound. Guitar Rig was one of those.
Oh, nice. I was going to say Guitar Rig has always been pretty good, actually.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's decent. I mean, it's decent enough, and you can. Yeah. And this is the thing, man. I did not want this to become something that I was spending a lot of money on. So
it is a rabbit hole. It's like any sort of equipment, like camera gear, music gear, new guitars, new pedals. It's such a rabbit hole.
Yeah. Well, dude, another lucky thing. I mean, the stuff you can find for free is great. Obviously you can buy some world-class stuff that you pay for. That's a given. But the stuff, if you're on a budget, the stuff you can get for free is very usable. Very usable. I mean,
I'm sure it is.
Even Melodyne, because, between you and me, there's obviously tweaking,
a sprinkle of it.
Yeah, everyone polishes their vocals, everyone polishes stuff to make sure it's classy. Melodyne they got 30-day trials for free.
Awesome.
Of the full suite. So, I mean, if you went into it going, I'm just going to experiment, try and make myself 3 tracks or a track, you've got, a month worth of being able to treat stuff if you need to. Sorry, man, this sounds like a really in-depth advert now. We should probably wind it back a bit. But I guess my overall point is it can be done for free. You can find out how to do it for free on YouTube. It just takes time. Like so many things, man. But music definitely can be done.
Can be done. It can be free, and you can listen to it for free on Spotify and all your other favourite outlets.
Yeah, man. So we should
awesome.
I'd like to mention it's on benjiwanlung.com if anyone wants to check out what we're talking about and see just how rubbish it is for yourself.
No, it's big props, because like a lot of people we know personally, but also a lot of people probably out there are thinking like, I have been in bands or want to record more, but just like oh, I have to pay for it or that. When really, if you're willing to put down £100 for an interface card or something and learn, just spend a few evenings if you can separate yourself for an hour a night just to watch some videos and have a play around.
Yeah.
Then you can actually learn. So that's good.
And I would say two related points just before we wrap up talking about this. The first one is expect what you're making to start with to be rubbish.
Yeah.
Because it will be, because it's learning and it will be.
Yeah.
But the second thing is you have to, one of the biggest differences with, I think, between good and great recordings, with no comment about my own, is that it's when people are hard on themselves with the details. Where it's like, if you're putting in a guitar part, it's not quite right, do it again.
Yeah.
If the vocal isn't quite there, consider doing it again. Really be hard on yourself.
Mate, it's the same with film stuff. Fix it. Don't fix it in the mix. Get it right first.
Exactly.
Don't bend it until it looks like what it's supposed to do. Just get it right first time.
Yeah, mate, it applies across the creative board.
When I was a teacher and a student was showing me like a picture or something, or like, and this was a classic joke, and then show me a picture and it's not very good or something, like, oh, how can I make it look like this? I'm like, I'll just point at the camera, like, oh, you need to hit the reshoot button.
Yeah.
And a lot of students were like, oh, where's that? I'm like, oh, it's back in the studio.
Yeah.
Off you go. Because it's going to be easier to read. The amount of times I had to explain, it's going to be much easier if you retake that photo rather than try and edit it so it looks like you want it to. Just go and retake it.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough, man.
But that was funny.
Dude, speaking of good art, I guess, things that are good. Oh man, no. Okay, right. We'll take that as one of the poor segues. All right, that's not a good one. But dude, the second Borat film came out.
It did, yeah.
To watch for free on Prime Video.
Yeah. Subsequent movie film.
It is, with a much longer title as well that changes through the film. Yeah.
Mate, what did you think? Straight out the gate.
I thought it was good. If you're looking for a one-word answer, then yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I liked it in places. Do you know what? And this is what I was going to explain to you earlier. I thought Borat is built off being like offensive. That's kind of like his thing, isn't he? He's a parody of someone from another country, which is probably already offensive in the first place.
Yeah, sure.
Saying awful, offensive things about everything, like literally everything. I felt like, I don't know. I felt like it was a bit woke in certain areas.
I see. Okay.
It's because obviously I think the whole film is basically against Donald Trump. That's kind of the idea.
Sure,
It's a big thing because even at the end it says "vote now," doesn't it? Which is pretty much let's get rid of him sort of thing. But for someone like Borat to have a stance on it like that kind of didn't make sense.
I hear you. I know what you mean, man. I don't know if I 100% agree. I think it's. I mean, obviously, it's what Sacha Baron Cohen believes. Like, obviously, like sure, that's what obviously. But I feel like it's just bringing out the views that people hold and presenting them in a way. Yeah, because I mean, to take it back to This Is America. He managed to bring out some pretty weird left wingers there as well. So I don't know if he's not always skewering the right, I guess. But yeah, Borat is definitely it's taken aim at the right and gone, you're a bunch of idiots.
Very much in the side.
Or some people are,
What did you think of is it the Rudy? What's his last
Rudy
name?
Giuliani.
Rudy Giuliani. What did you think of that scene? Because I read about the controversy to start with. If you're a bit unsure, I guess we're talking about spoilers. So, but, I mean, it's a Borat film, so it's not really going to ruin any plot.
Yeah,
but, Borat's daughter interviews that Rudy guy.
Yeah,
and basically kind of I kind of want to say leads on. That's probably the right word.
I mean, that's the thing, though, man. I mean, the idea is that she's flirting with him.
She's super flirty, isn't she?
Yeah, she's super deliberately, so very overtly.
Yeah, and then she does invite him to his room for a drink, and it looks like he goes to take off his trousers.
See, right.
But I don't know, man. What's your take on
this? To me, because it was in the news, because it looks like he's taking his trousers off or he's touching himself. He's getting a few jollies while she's there. To me, what it looked like was a combination of he was tucking his shirt back in. had it, and his hand lingers down his pants. Maybe he was, not to get too crude here, maybe he was getting excited and he was just sorting himself out down there, like arranging himself, maybe. I mean, from his point of view, I mean, I don't like Rudy Giuliani. I mean, you listen to some of the things he says, and I really don't like the guy. But to try and take an objective stance here, he's in a situation where an attractive younger woman is very obviously coming on to him, stroking his knee, talking the talk, chat, goes back to his hotel room. Are you up for it? Yeah, cool. So, I mean, he's a guy
like
who thinks his ship's coming,
Yeah. It's like a weird form of entrapment, isn't it? It's like,
here's
all the things that you'd want as a older guy.
Yeah, exactly. And then, look at him, because it feels really bad to be defending Rudy Giuliani, but I don't feel like that was the worst thing in the world. I mean, he's a creep. He is a creep, and he does come across as a bit of a lech, but she keeps going, because it's, and I'm not, this sounds really weird because it sounds like I'm talking about a real woman, not a character being played by an actress. But if it was maybe a real woman and he was being a creep, she'd stop. I mean, again, we don't want to descend into victim blaming here or anything like that. But, if she's giving him the signs that she's still interested, he's smiling, making jokes, and she's like, yeah, come on. Like,
yeah, she's laughing. There's no sense of uncomfortableness there, is there? And I don't know, man. I guess it's weird. I guess what's weird about it is there's cameras there and obviously cameramen.
Yes.
Which then makes it a bit weird. But then why would you take that risk if there's people there?
Yeah, the bit in the bedroom, man, is only hidden cameras.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Man. It's cameramen for the interview, and then they go off. So I mean, so what? So what are you going to say? Older man gets heavily flirted with by an attractive younger woman and starts to get into it when he thinks they're alone.
She says, "I'm your biggest fan," and all that sort of stuff quite a lot. I don't know, man. There's a sense of entrapment, a sense of creepiness. I don't think it paid off how they really, really wanted it to.
I almost wonder whether it's like they went, we've got this potential scene, we're going to send you in.
Yeah.
This might be great. And he's probably the biggest name that they actually have interaction with in the film. So I get the impression that, like you say, it maybe just fell a bit flat because you've got to use that scene then. Even if nothing really happens. A lot on that. Yeah. Maybe they're expecting more out of it.
I don't know, but overall, to move past that scene, I like I said kind of before this podcast, there's some bits at the start I really laughed at and really enjoyed, and reminded me of that old Borat when when he's back at his village and he's just talking about how he had 10 years at the Gulag and stuff like that. It was really classic sort of Borat on the nose. Funniness.
Yeah, it's easy to forget, having seen the stuff that he's done since, especially This Is America, where it is just more political and more overtly political. You forget that Borat was funny for a lot of different reasons. He was gross and funny.
Even slapstick,
with the mankini and all the rest of it.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff like that. And I thought the end was great as well. I also thought it was funny when he dressed up and sang the Wuhan song.
Oh, man, dude.
That was, God, man, that must have been terrible. I've actually seen a clip on Twitter of him holding his van door shut while people trying to get in.
I know, dude, yeah.
That looks terrifying. And, there's people there with guns.
I know, man,
I know. Just waltzing around with a bloody,
dude.
Some sort of assault rifle. But fair play. That's dedication to the craft. If you're gonna rally, if you're gonna piss people off, what a way to do it.
I know, yeah, dude, absolutely, mate, 100%. I thought, and I liked her in it as well, because you almost wouldn't feel like you could find a second actor to play alongside him who could do the same sort of thing as well. But she nails it.
The same amount of no shame. Yeah, let's go whole hog on whatever it is.
Yeah,
especially that dance.
God, and straight facedness as well.
Yeah,
the fact that she can hold it together. Well, he said, Sacha Baron Cohen said he reckons that she should have an Oscar. Is it Maria Bakalova? No, Baklava's a cake, but Bakalova, I think. She's Bulgarian. Yeah, no, dude, he said she'd definitely have an Oscar, and I can see it. To be honest, I can see. I mean, maybe the film wouldn't win the Oscar, but I can see her picking up awards for her part in it.
Yeah, she was very, very good. But yeah, man, I don't know. Overall, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, man, I'd recommend watching it.
Blow me away.
I mean, it's one of those things where if you want to see, I saw a good description of it where it was the appeal of it is seeing how these low-level prejudices still run through people, like the woman who's like who doesn't object to writing "Jews will never replace us" across a cake, you know, or the guy who's like, or the
she just does it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Or the woman who just doesn't question it when he goes, which skin tone would be best for a racist family? You know, which tan should I get for going through a racist family?
Yeah. And she goes, I wouldn't go lower than this. Yeah.
Dude.
It's almost like you've been asked that before.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just know. But yeah, dude, man. It's
overall, I'd say if you haven't seen it, worth a watch. Don't expect the best film in the world, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, are you ready for the smoothest segue in the world?
Let's do it. I'm prepared.
So, Tom, what about that video you made? and the listeners will never know, mate. They will never be any the wiser.
Talking of moving images.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, this is probably the first. This may well be the first time I've done a podcast pretty much directly after uploading a video.
Yeah, dude.
You're usually always a little bit after. Yeah, it's just my favorite iPad Air apps for 2020. And the thing is with this video, Ben, is I've had that iPad Air for maybe 2 weeks. So, you know, it's a little bit disingenuous to say they're my favorite iPad Air apps because really they're just my favorite iPad apps.
I guess so, yeah.
But you've got to be thinking about the old search terms.
Absolutely, mate. You've got to show up on that algorithm.
Yeah, you've got to show up there. No, mate, funnily enough, you know, I think it was a couple podcasts ago we talked about, I talked about how I was withholding videos and waiting for stuff to go and unlisting videos and things like that. Weirdly, this video almost turned out like that. I recorded all of the A roll, and which is, for those of you a bit unsure, that's my talking head part. And usually in videos I'll do an intro and outro in A roll, and I'll do the rest as voiceover, which is why the voiceover quality dramatically rises when it's voiceover because it's I can use like a proper mic. It doesn't matter how close it is to my face, but when it's A-roll, the mic can't be in shot, so it's got to be further away, so it's just worse quality.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work on that, actually. I'm thinking about.
Mate, you want to get one of those Britney mics, like a little flip down, Captain Scarlet style. Hey, welcome back to Bite Review. I need one of those. Just go whole hog with it. Just, you know, really tape it to my face. You can really see it. The A-roll was like quite, you know, I've cut it, you know, the editing skills are very much there, similar to your Melodyne, the cuts and all that. Every time a bit of B-roll goes over, you know, I've messed up the A-roll. But yeah, it took a long time to get that, and I've watched a lot of it back, and I was like, oh, it's a bit crap. And I actually shot the A-roll in S-Log, which is a way, I think me and you've talked about that before, which is a way of your camera capturing a lot more detail. Yep.
But on the flip side of that, you have to do a lot of post-processing to make it look normal.
Sure.
And my camera's is a Sony A7 III, and it's what they call an 8-bit camera, so it only shoots video in 8-bit, which is fine, but anytime you try and color correct footage from an 8-bit camera, it starts breaking up. And this is really geeky, but you can actually see in the A-roll, if you look at the door, you can actually see a wave of green and pink, and that's because it's basically messed up. The camera can't process that much information, or it can't capture it properly.
Yeah, sure.
So I tried that because I watched a video about how to do it properly, and I did do it half properly, but I won't do that again. So that put me off it. And then I was reusing some old footage as well, and I always feel cheap doing that, like reusing footage from an older video. Although I shouldn't do, because I did film it. It is my footage. It's not like stuff I've nicked.
I mean, would you film the same footage again? You know?
well, this is it. This is why I didn't. But so yeah, it was a bit of a poor taste in my mouth until probably yesterday, really. And then I watched it back. I was like, actually, this is fine.
Sure.
And I put some music. Whenever you put music in the background, it's like, there it is.
It all comes together. Yeah,
it all comes together. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it in the end. That's the little behind the scenes. But mate, I think I've talked about this before, but the iPad is just a really good computer now.
I mean, some of the apps you're showcasing in there, I mean, are top quality. I mean, obviously they're professional made apps, but the use of them, like what you can do with them now, especially the photo editing stuff, is incredible.
It's incredible. If anyone yeah, like I said in the video, if anyone follows me on Instagram or any of the Heroku stuff or anything I post on Twitter is all edited on the iPad or my phone, all through Lightroom. I don't use my
when you're using it. I mean, do you feel like you're using an iPad? It might be a weird question, or do you feel like you're using a laptop or something else?
No, mate, usually when you pick up the iPad to do something on the iPad, it feels like you're using the iPad. But very occasionally, it does what Apple always wanted it to do, which is to fade into the background, and then you just say, "I'll get the computer." Do you know what I mean? It's like when you open the laptop, you just call it a laptop because it's so obvious what it is, and it does very specific things. So when I'm photo editing on there, it feels right.
Yeah, sure.
It's definitely the best for me. It's been the best experience of editing photos because it really does feel like you're properly interacting with the actual image. You're touching it, you're moving things around, changing colors. It's like you've got the photo in your hands.
It's much more tactile, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. A lot of people don't like that app, which is kind of why I addressed it and said, a lot of legacy users hate it, and I get it. It hasn't got it all, but still great.
Yeah.
Mate, I think it's great.
Do you ever spend any time faffing on it playing games?
Do you know what? I don't as much as my videos would let on. although I think the next video I'm potentially going to do on it will be a gaming test because they're quite popular and I do find it interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put the iPad. I actually tested it a little bit today. I put the iPad into our 4K TV downstairs and just played some games for it on there. Absolutely, spoiler alert. It handles it. It handles it absolutely fine. It's not a problem.
Wow.
I'm not sure if it's outputting at 4K. I think it's outputting at a slightly lower resolution, but it doesn't skip a beat, and it's still powering the other screen because it can only mirror screens.
Right. Okay.
So it's kind of like producing it twice in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's absolutely solid. You shouldn't buy an iPad to play games. If you want to play games, you should spend £500 on an Xbox or something.
Yeah. Hey, not to get sidetracked, PlayStation 5's out soon, isn't it?
Yeah. They both are, mate. The Xbox Series X and the PS5. This is probably a good way to segue because I haven't got much more to say about that video other than go and watch it. Go and watch it. Let me know what you think. Yeah, give it a like, give it a subscribe.
Please,
please. I've been using some more Android phones again recently, Pixel 5 and the Samsung Galaxy FE, the S20 FE that I'll show you very quickly.
Oh man, that's a sexy colour, isn't it?
Mate, which is honestly so good. I'm really surprised at how good that S20 FE is. So good, I would take it over the Pixel 5.
Really?
Which isn't... Mate, I'm doing terrible podcasting here, but you said the Pixel 5 was small. It is. That's the Pixel 5.
Yeah.
I don't know how I can give you anything for scale.
For those listening who want an audio description here. Yeah, Tom's little finger is up against the Pixel 5. It's barely bigger, mate. I mean, I'm surprised you haven't lost that into your, into your pocket.
It's not a big phone at all. And it's great. The only thing about the Pixel phones, mate, is that, and this is a good thing for some people, is they're a bit boring. They're just a bit boring. They do camera really well. Yeah. It's a good phone. The screen's
blend into
nice.
The background, mate. For me, it's the same deal because I'm a Pixel user myself.
You are,
and yeah, man, it just does. I feel like it's not a barrier to anything I want to do with it.
No, it just a solid phone.
Works and you get on with it. Yeah,
yeah. It's I think for the price you pay for the Pixel 5, you could potentially get a lot more exciting phones that do a lot more. Like,
sure.
Like if you want a zoom and a super ultra wide, because it does have an ultra wide on it, but it's not as wide as pretty much every other ultra wide.
So why is that then? I mean, what is it that's been added into Pixels? What is Google doing? Are they just charging more?
What for the compared to like a 4A?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just.
I mean, or going for a different brand. If you're going to spend, like you say, if you're spending that money on a different phone, you can probably get something a bit more exciting. Like, where is that money going? Do you reckon?
This is actually the cheapest Pixel flagship in years, since they made them. So they have made it cheaper, but I think I think Google doesn't convert many people to Pixel. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if you buy a Pixel, you probably already knew about it before you bought it. You probably did a bit of research what is the best Android phone? And if you're already typing that into Google, you're probably in 10% of phone buyers.
I think that's the key thing, mate. If you're typing it into Google, then what are you going to find out?
Yeah, they're definitely going to push home on. But yeah, this is the thing. I think a lot of people forget that most, let's say 90% of phone buyers, 95% of phone buyers go into a shop and they look at, if you don't want an iPhone, which in the UK is, I think iPhone usage is about 30% or something. So there's still a lot of people that don't want an iPhone.
Is that right? I would have thought that was much higher. Higher.
It's not that high. I might be completely wrong. I'm going to Google it. Let's Google it live.
Live fact check.
Live fact check on my crap facts. UK iPhone usage versus Android. I can't do two things at once. Okay, no, dude, you're right. It's higher. So it's basically 50-50.
Okay.
49% for iPhone and 51% for Android. So it's pretty. That's surprising actually, because I know Europe is like 80% Android.
Wow.
20% iPhone, which is really different.
Yeah.
Let's do a live fact check on that as well.
Mate, it's just the soothing sounds of typing.
Yeah,
we should do an ASMR video.
I'm not far off. It's 72% of Europe uses an Android phone.
Okay,
and let's go back to the point is that 70% of people walk into a phone store. They're not fussed about if it's a Samsung, Huawei, or whatever. They probably buy it off. A lot of superficial things in a phone store, like what does it feel like to hold? Are the cameras good? And more importantly, are they good in the store? If you can make sure your camera experience is good, like straight out the bat, like, it does 3 different things. Oh, cool. That's awesome. You've got to hit those things. So I think a lot of other phones would get picked over the Pixel for that. If you saw the Pixel next, mate, if you're an average customer and you walk into a shop and you see these two, I'm holding them both up to Ben. Which one looks more interesting?
There's definitely one that looks more exciting. Yeah.
Hell yeah. You're going to, if it's got some flashy specs as well and like some sort of fancy display, you're going to be like, ooh,
even better. And to a certain extent, I know size is subjective and what have you, but to a certain extent, slightly bigger just looks like it would do more.
Yeah, definitely.
Unless your thing is it's the smallest phone you can buy. And it's like, I really want a tiny little phone for this reason. Unless that's your selling point, slightly bigger just looks more luxurious.
Another thing as well is like if you went round to just anybody, if you asked all of your mates and your parents and whatever, what's a Pixel phone, they'd be like, no idea. But if you said what's a Samsung phone, they'd probably know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Samsung phone. Yeah, I've got a Samsung phone. My friend uses a Samsung phone, but I just don't think you get a Pixel.
No, fair enough.
It's a phone for enthusiasts. I've always think it has been.
Yeah,
it's very much in that area. Anyway, I'm not sure what my original point was, but
that's all right, mate. Who fucking knows? Who knows, mate? If neither of us have ever had a point, I don't think.
No, but to round up that Pixel conversation, it's still fantastic.
Okay.
It's a great phone, great camera, great experience. Not very exciting. Not going to blow you away in any form of.
You were talking about gaming on Android.
Oh yeah. Okay. Right. Here's the exciting point. I put this on my Instagram for those of you that have seen it, which might not be many of you, or if any of you, maybe just David. Xbox. I've got Xbox Game Pass. I'm an Xbox user, and you can now stream Xbox games to your phone, but your Xbox doesn't need to be on. It's a stream directly from Microsoft's cloud. Okay. So you don't need anything on. You can be wherever you are, and you can connect an Xbox controller to your phone and then stream the game. And mate, I've been trying it out. It's working so surprisingly well. Like,
oh wow,
incredibly well. And the amazing thing about it is you don't have to install anything, because it's streaming. You don't need to download it. It's everything Google Stadia promised, but just
I was going to
say
that sounds like Stadia. It sounds like their thing. Yeah,
but Stadia, you still have to buy the games. With Xbox Game Pass, you get it's over 100 games just off the bat.
Yeah, sure.
Including all, it sounds like an advert now, but including all the first party Microsoft. So all the Halos are on there, all the Gears of War, all the Forza, all Microsoft bought Bethesda now, so all the Bethesda games are on it. Yeah. So you can pretty much play a massive library of games, and my internet's not banging. It's like a 60 megabits per second, a classic UK internet speed. Yeah, sure. And no problem at all. I was playing Doom Eternal on there, and that's a pretty fast-paced game.
I was going to say, that's recent, man, as well. So it's going to be pushing the capacity you'd expect.
Yeah. And mate, it was awesome. And, it's a bit of an advert for 5G as well, because once 5G rolls around, lag just won't be a thing.
Yeah.
So, you can play a game within seconds. And the great thing is, because it's obviously streaming, it's loading it from a absolutely beasting PC, I would imagine. I bet it's not running off an Xbox by any means.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Load times are super low. It loads faster than my Xbox loads.
So Doom. Mate, dude, that does sound like such a leap in gaming. It sounds like a big deal. Cool. If you can all of a sudden just Netflix. Go, it's on my phone. Here we go.
Mate, it's Netflix for games. It's what everybody's wanted, I think, for a long time. Here's a way of streaming games. You don't have to install anything. There are no updates because they would just be updated at the cloud place.
You're already playing the latest version, yeah.
You're already playing. Man, this is the thing. I've been playing Doom on it, and I clicked back on Doom the other day, and it just said, the DLC is now available. And usually that would take you to a purchase page, but it's just there now.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's here because it's on the streaming service.
But
yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Just for a bit of future prediction here, do you feel like gaming would ultimately face the same problems that video and film creation does? Where like we've talked about the Netflix 2-season problem, and music streaming even, in terms of where the money flows. Yeah,
I'm not sure. I feel like if because Netflix, when they produce a film or something, they still throw millions at it. It's not like and the same with the series. A lot of Netflix series, they throw a lot of money at. I know The Crown is like super expensive, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think once The Crown's finished, Crown is maybe a different example because they've got like I only know this because I am a bit of a Crown fan. Anyway, unashamed.
I've never watched it.
It's pretty good. So with that one, it's almost like they already know the story they're going to tell because it's going to go up to modern day and stop.
Yeah.
But things like the Marvel stuff was a good example where once you've already made 3 series, you're not going to make any more money by making the 4th series. So they just cancel them. 2 good series and stop.
Yeah, I really don't know because I know Microsoft have bought loads of game companies recently. They bought up a load of developers and all those developers now push out on Game Pass. So I'd imagine it's, if they've... I know... just from Google's here, Game Pass got over 10 million subscribers already, so it's 10 million people paying £10 a month.
Yeah,
I imagine they can probably just divvy that up into budgets for each studio and be like, here's a budget that gets constantly refreshed. It's not based off your game being a success so much. This is residual income we're going to make if you make games or not. Your game is keeping them on it, so maybe it is like a just more standardized budget, which might be good. Yeah. From what I read on the game industry, especially with Cyberpunk 2077, they're cramming, and it sounds like I think it's the same with Red Dead 2, that they're just like working 12, 15-hour days, sleeping at the studio, waking up, working. It sounds awful.
Yeah,
you'd hope like something like that could get rid of that. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Mate, I am talking out my arse now. It's all conjecture.
No,
I have no idea if any of it's true.
No, absolutely. To be honest, I'm sat here. I've gone quiet because I'm sat here just thinking about it. Because it's going to be interesting to see how that works out, how that pans out. Because you look at what indie studios do. Spelunky 2 came out recently, which is incredible. But big releases from small independent studios that are like a handful of people, at least in the early days. You wonder how that would affect them with the. Maybe it make income more accessible for them. Maybe not, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it's some sort of like thing. If you sign to Game Pass, we can have it for a year before you put it out, or maybe something like that.
Yeah,
who knows? I can't remember what I was going to say.
That's right. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Definitely. I think. Sorry, I remember now. The most exciting thing I think about Game Pass in general. I don't want to sound like an Xbox fanboy because I have all the consoles, Ben. I don't, I've got a PC, I've got the Xbox, I've got the PS4, I've got a Switch, whatever. Is that there is the rumor that Game Pass will trickle down to other consoles. So if you've got a Switch, Switch is the main rumor at the moment because they've got a good relationship with Nintendo. Is saying that they, there's no reason they can't stream Xbox games to anything with an internet connection. So having a Game Pass on Switch could be a completely real thing within a few years.
Very interesting.
As it could on PS4.
You know what? That's interesting. And we have a mutual friend who I won't name, but who sells white goods. And I've talked to him before about the idea of selling consoles and gaming equipment as well.
Yeah.
And I think I seem to remember him saying that whenever they looked at it, the margins on a console are microscopic.
Yeah, man, I think they are. When
but
I used to work at HMV,
but the margins on the
like
games are where it's at. So I guess I'm just thinking of the logic here, because I mean, I guess they would forfeit a console sale, but you're so if you're streaming on Switch, you're effectively still selling the games. You know, I know it's a different model, but you're still making the money on the games, and who cares if you don't make the microscopic margin on a console in the first place?
Yeah, it's interesting, but I'd love to see Game Pass come to everything. You know, if they're like, do you know what, it's on Switch, you can get it on PS5, and then it opens up this element. I think I read an article on The Verge the other day saying that an Xbox, you might just be able to get it as a HDMI dongle. It just sticks into your TV.
Jesus, man.
And then you get a controller with it. It's like 80 quid or whatever. You know, very much like Stadia.
Man.
What Stadia promised.
I can't help but feel like that will be a step at some point.
Yeah.
Because why would it not? You know, why would that? As long as you could say these games will play flawlessly.
Yeah. Maybe, you know, like having Netflix built into TVs. My TV's got Netflix built in. There's no reason it couldn't just have, it's got Xbox built in.
Christ.
It's got Game Pass built in.
What a world.
You can just stream it. You just need to buy a controller.
Wow, man.
Which would be awesome. But yeah, man, I think gaming's heading in a really cool direction.
Yeah,
I'm here for it. It also gets rid of that you know, barrier, that economic barrier of, well, I can't afford it, so I can't play. You know, if you can manage to afford £10 a month, I'm not suggesting everybody can, but you could play it on whatever device you've got.
Yeah.
And have the same experience, then that's pretty cool.
And have an immense library of games to choose from.
Exactly.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Very cool.
Dude, one last amazing segue of the show. Speaking of video games, I wanted to talk to you about a book of poetry that is about... there is a link here. There is a link. And it's really good.
Okay.
and it's really good. It's a book called If All the World and Love Were Young.
Yeah.
And it's by a guy called Stephen Sexton, who's an Irish poet. Poetry isn't normally my bag, but I'm not averse to it, you know?
Sure.
But this book is great. It's written as, I think it must be, what would it be? It would be 99 poems, where each one is linked to a level from Super Mario World.
No way.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's also about the death of his mother. Right.
So as poems often are.
Yeah. So but they read as one long story almost.
Right.
And I guess what I took from the link is that it's his link to his childhood. You know, it's a thing that he was very heavily invested in when he was a kid, and it's that feeling of tying very adult emotions to almost retreating to a childlike safe place mentally. I sound like I'm an expert poetry analyst here, which I'm really not. And this is only my kind of take. But all I want to say is that I really enjoyed it. Cool. Super Mario World was a game that I played a lot when I was young. And maybe that's why it appeals to me. And some of the reference, you know, it's more of a feeling than anything else.
Oh, I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah, no, dude, it's a weird one to have to talk about, but yeah, I mean, if someone out there likes to read and they enjoyed Super Mario World, some of it's quite abstract poetry, but it's good. I think he won an award for it.
How weird.
Yeah, I would just throw it in as one last little recommendation on the end of the show. It's worth checking out. If All the World and Love Were Young.
Ben's Rex.
I think
an X.
Ben's Rex, yeah. Mate, I think that's the show.
It's got to be it. We've been chatting for a while.
I think
good,
that's
like quick fire round of many little bits.
I'm sure the listeners hate episodes like this, mate, where we just bounce from topic to topic, but whatever. Screw them. We'll do what we want.
Thanks. This is my podcast.
Absolutely,
You'll suffer for it.
Yeah. Please listen again next time. Thanks again to everyone for listening. Thanks for Tony Faxton for our themes. Tom, thanks to you just for being here, mate. Where can people find you online if they want to hang out?
It's just at Byte Review all over the place. But where can they find Ben?
I am at Benji Wanlung on anything you probably want to find.
Yeah.
And
LinkedIn,
with that, they were,
MySpace.
not LinkedIn. They were away into the night. Farewell.
Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye. Wait, that's it.